In the headlines, APC chieftains take protest to INEC office in Kano, demand removal of resident electoral commissioner. Court dismisses Abba Kyari application to quash drug trafficking charges. Senator Barrow Jibrin joins race for Senate presidency. And on the foreign scene, Chad jails over 400 rebels for life following the death of former ruler Idris Deby. Hello and welcome to Trust News Update. I'm Darshan Hussaina Usman. Now the news in detail. The Independent National Electoral Commission has declared the Labour Party candidate Alex Otti as the winner of the March 18th governorship election in Abia State. The state returning officer, Professor Nenna Otti, while announcing the results, noted that the Labour Party polled a total of 175,467 against his closest rivalry, the People's Democratic Party, who came second with 88,529 votes. The Young Progressives Party came third with 28,972, while the All Progressives Congress polled a total to emerge fourth with 24,091. Recall that the electoral umpire had suspended the collation of results from Obingwa local government area for review following reports of malpractice from the local government area. The result was announced in the absence of PDP party agents.
That Otti, Alex, Fiona of Labour Party, having satisfied the requirements of the law, is hereby declared the winner and is returned elected. Thank you.
APC supporters take protests to office of the Independent National Electoral Commission in Kano to submit petition against the declaration of Abba Kabir Yusuf of the NNPP as Kano governor-elect. Party chieftains Muhammad Garba, Rabiu Suleiman Bachi, Bafa Baba Dang Agundi, led by the party's legal counsel, Barrister Abdul Faye, presented petition at the INEC office. INEC's head of administration department, Lawal Sani, received a petition on behalf of the resident electoral commissioner.
There was 264,000 voters that were cancelled. And for this reason, it is glaringly clear that the margin of win is just 122. And with this, it is apparent that there is need for that election to be declared inconclusive. After the declaration of result, he has to go and make a report at the National Health Service. So you have now presented your grievances, which we will collect. Definitely, we will forward as usual. So thank you very much for presenting your grievances.
Daily Trust Bureau Chief in Kano State, Clement Oloyede, gives an update on the protest.
What happened today was that the All Progressive Congress, APC, carried out a protest to INEC office in Kano. And when they got to INEC office, they basically just submitted a petition. And a copy of that petition that we're able to see, what they were demanding for is the immediate removal of the INEC Resident Electoral Commission in Kano. They accused the REC of being biased and working with the NNPP to rig the election, according to them. I'm quoting them directly. So basically, this is what they are demanding for. They said they've written several of these petitions in the past, and none has been given attention. This fresh petition is coming on the heels of their press conference yesterday, where they demanded that INEC should, as a matter of immediacy, they gave INEC 7 days to review the election held in Kano, and said that outrightly the election ought to be declared as inconclusive. So basically, today's protest was an offshoot of their press conference yesterday. But unfortunately, after the protest and after the leaders of the party had dispersed and went their way, hoodlums took advantage of the scenario and started unleashing mayhem on unsuspecting members of the public. They were snatching people's phones, brandishing weapons, and chasing people left, right, and center. I personally had a brief encounter with some of them. We had to engage reverse gear on our vehicle and drive speedily out of the way because they were running towards us and wanting to attack. They were doing this indiscriminately. It was not just targeting supporters of another party. They were just taking advantage of the commercial cost by the protests.
Few days after the re-election of Gombe State Governor Inuwa Yahaya of the All Progressives Congress, Gombe residents are now setting an agenda for his second tenure. Ibrahim Ismail, who went around the state, reports that people identified job creation, health and commerce as critical areas that need urgent attention from the new administration. The report.
Governor Inuwa Yahaya of the All Progressives Congress APC was first elected as the governor of Gombe State in 2019 elections and was re-elected in the recently conducted governorship election in the state. Following his re-election, the residents of Gombe have begun to present demands and set agenda for the second tenure of the governor's administration.
I want this government to support small businesses like us. This will improve the economy of the people. We need jobs and timely payment of workers' salary.
Kamar a yanki na inda nake zanne, Auko local government, Wode Bridge.
In my area, Akko LGA, we need roads and hospital in Wuro Bridge and Bomala to enjoy dividend of democracy. We normally go to Pantami to access healthcare.
While some residents demand job creation, infrastructural development and boost of commercial activities, others want improvement of the security architecture as they call for an end to activities of political thugs known as Kalare Boys.
Abu na ɗaya da nake so gwamna ya mai da hankali akan waɗannan yara da suke yawo a gari.
I want the governor to tackle the menace of Kalare Boys. They inflict injuries and snatch people's phones. They destroy businesses. We want this to be addressed.
Suna asara. Ba abin da na fi so gwamna mai da hankali akai. Face
they should be given jobs or be tackled by security forces.
In his acceptance speech after the re-election, Governor Inuwa Yahaya vowed to listen to the needs of the people and also run an inclusive government.
And no boundaries. If the ultimate objective of all political parties and constituencies is about the peace, progress, and development of our dear state, it behoves of all of them to support us in moving our dear state forward. On my part, I'm ready to work with all stakeholders in running all inclusive government for the benefit of our people.
Since 2003, Gombe State has been under the leadership of the People's Democratic Party (PDP) before the ruling All Progressives Congress (APC) clinched to power in 2019 and 2023. Ibrahim Ismail, Trust TV News, Gombe.
Although the governorship and Houses of Assembly elections conducted on Saturday, 18th March have come and gone, the outcome of the poll has continued to dominate discourse among different groups. Jimmy Adzande spoke to some Benue residents who commended the process and also pointed areas that need to be improved upon. The report.
The atmosphere in Benue State appears calm and with hope amid jubilation by supporters of the Yes Father movement across party lines. Most of the residents of Benue who responded said the outcome of the election was the choice of majority of Benue electorate who came out in large number to exercise their civic duty.
26, 27, 28, 20.
It actually reflected the wishes of people because prior to the election in Benue State, from the motor parks to the markets to the civil servants, you would hear them calling for a change from the PDP to the APC.
The election was so good. This is the ever good election I've seen since I was born in this country. The election was peaceful, even though some people tried to disrupt some places, but the security were able to take control.
The electoral umpire, INEC, is given a pat on the back by Benue residents. They said it was an improvement for the presidential and National Assembly elections.
A very fascinating scene to behold on that election day. The enthusiasm, the way the people took out to vote, it shows that they had assurance in the process of INEC and believing that their vote counts. Before now, people hardly turn up for voting, and at the end, they never feel owning the system.
If you look at the situation before even the election, it was so clear, and I can categorically say that yes, this is a reflection of what the people want. So the election was okay. It was a good contest and the best man.
The residents are optimistic that the process is gaining confidence of more Nigerians who hitherto generated voter apathy.
INEC did better than presidential election, but of course there is still room for improvement. Per the issues of violence, per the issue of snatching of ballot boxes that we recorded in a few places. But generally, it was a good performance. And for me, as a scientist, political scientist, I'm not surprised that Reverend Father Alia of the APC is governor-elect.
Reverend Father Hyacinth Alia of the APC was declared winner and returned elected as the 6th civilian governor of the state. This is the second time a Catholic priest will occupy the government house in Benue State. The first was Reverend Father Moses Adasu, who was elected governor, an administration that was short-lived, though with massive monumental projects.
The United States government says it will consider all available actions against those who undermine the just concluded elections in Nigeria. The U.S. said it is deeply disturbed by cases of voter intimidation and the use of ethnically charged rhetoric during the governorship and House of Assembly elections held on March 18. In a statement, the United States Mission of Nigeria called on the federal government and other relevant agencies to ensure that those who aided voter suppression are brought to book. Following the declaration of Bola Tinubu of the All Progressives Congress as winner of the presidential poll, opposition parties called for the cancellation of the exercise. The People's Democratic Party, the Labour Party, and 2 other parties have already filed petitions at the Election Tribunal to challenge the result in court. Some groups, including the Southern and Middle Belt Leaders Forum, have also berated INEC for the conduct of the 2023 presidential poll, describing it as fraudulent. A federal high court in Abuja has dismissed an application filed by suspended Deputy Commissioner of Police Abba Kyari, challenging the jurisdiction of the court to try him on drug trafficking charges. Justice Emeka Nwite held that the powers of the Police Service Commission do not supersede the powers of the Federal High Court, averring that the Federal High Court has the power to hear drug-related offences as enshrined in the Constitution and the NDLEA Act. Noel Sampson reports.
Abba Kyari, through his counsellor, told the court that the charges against him were premature, insisting that the NDLEA ought to have allowed the court to exhaust its internal machinery before it instituted the action. He told the court that the police had already commenced an investigation into allegations against him and issued an internal report. The court, however, held that the subject matter of the case is within jurisdiction of the court. The trial judge said Section 251 of the Constitution confers the court the powers to hear and determine the charge.
The prosecution cannot proceed to charge them to court unless they follow the procedures as set down in the Constitution. That is, to allow the prosecution, to allow the defendant to face Police Service Commission disciplinary procedure. That procedure has not been followed. That application to quash was taken at the last adjourned date and ruling was delivered today. The court, in its wisdom, is of the opinion that Police Service Commission is not listed in the exception provisions in the Constitution, and has said that it will not allow the Police Service Commission to proceed with the matter before the charge proceeds. So as it is now, he insists the court ruled that trial must continue.
Abba Kyari maintained that he could only be charged to court upon conclusion of the internal investigation by the police.
It is my own belief and my own conviction that the provisions as stated in section 153 and subparagraph L and subparagraph M is sacrosanct. It's referring to the Nigerian Police Force and the Nigerian Police Council as well as the Nigerian Police Service Commission. There is no way and how the police can have a crime record without first knowing what their officers are doing, if at all there's any criminal allegation lying against them. It has to be investigated by the police. For the NDLEA to come in, what it simply means is that until that drug issue or drug criminal liability has been established by the police through their investigation, then they, of course, after the due process of how police officers are expected to be disciplined, they can now hand them over to the appropriate authority, which is the NDLEA.
With this application replying on the argument that the Police Service Commission has similar powers to investigate and discipline erring police officers in line with the Police Act and regulations, the same way the National Judicial Council disciplined judicial officers, dismissed that the court will now begin his trials. Noel Samson, Trust TV News, Abuja.
You're watching Trust News Update. Coming up after the break. How cash crunch affects Ramadan fast preparation. Stay with us.
Trust TV, documenting the Nigerian story.
Now, as part of efforts to support Africa's goal of strengthening...
Now, looking at the activity chart, as you can see right here, a total volume of 130...
a Boko Haram crisis that at that time was restricted to Yobe.
How secure are they? You can see security men with blood.
This is the road leading up to the...
Really, if you look at England squad, you are looking at EPL, you are looking at their names. You are not looking at...
Welcome back and thanks for staying with us. You're still watching Trust News Update, a recap of our top stories. We told you that APC chieftains take protests to INEC office in Kano, demand removal of resident electoral commissioner. You also heard that court dismisses Abba Kyari's application to quash drug trafficking charges. Moving to other stories, Chairman, Senate Committee on Appropriations, Barrow Jibrin, has declared his intention to contest for Senate presidency in the 10th National Assembly. Barrow made the declaration Wednesday while briefing reporters at the National Assembly in Abuja. The Kano North senator said he is the most experienced amongst those who are seeking to occupy the coveted office. He said the Northwest should be considered for the position of the Senate president, having given the highest votes to the president-elect. Barrow also dismissed the calls in some quarters for a Christian Senate president to balance APC's Muslim-Muslim ticket, saying competence should not be sacrificed for religious sentiment.
The principle is it is the tradition all over the world. So it's there in our rules. It's there in our rules that, and this rule is a product of the Constitution. Section 60 gives the latitude of the National Assembly to create means of regulating its procedure, including summoning summoning the houses of assembly, that is the Senate and the House of Reps, and then recess as well. And that gives us the reason why we have our standing rules. And it's clear in the standing rules that aspiration or election for the office of the Senate presidency shall be in accordance with ranking. And amongst those who are seeking to acquire that office as we speak, I have the highest ranking. So it's constitutional. And we want our president to go for second term after this election. After this one, we want him to go for second term because we saw what he did in Lagos, transformed Lagos to become an economic El Dorado. So we wanted to replicate that here in Nigeria, replicate that for the entire country. And he was able to do that when he served 2 terms.
The Muslim Ummah have called on the government to regulate prices of food to make the fasting period worthwhile. The call is coming as Muslims all over the world are set to begin Ramadan fasting amidst hike in food prices. Zainab Araye was at one of the markets in the FCT and files in this report.
Ramadan period is the time for Muslim faithfuls not just to be closer to Allah but also a time for sober reflection. It is a time when household demands significantly go up, especially food items accompanied by the hike in their prices.
We are facing big challenge. Before you see money buy food, it's a problem. Talk more of a person is doing fasting. Understand? To carry money buy common domino is going to be a problem for him because there's no cash. So, and these people selling small things, how are they going to collect transfer or POS? There's not. So that is the problem we are facing.
The season of Ramadan by Muslims cannot be avoided, even without the cash. We, as Muslim faithful, must observe the fasting period. We are calling on the government to make Naira available, which will go a long way to cushion the suffering being faced by the people, especially at this month of sober reflection. Fasting this year will be somehow difficult as a result of high in prices of commodities. To make it more worse, the online transfer is not working out, making it very, very difficult for people to transact or buy things in the market. The money is not forthcoming.
This situation has continued to put harsh burden on households.
It's very, very bad though, because food stuff, the prices are increasing, and there's no cash. Even if you have your card, maybe you want to withdraw, they will tell you say there's no cash, and if you go to the bank, they will say there's no cash, queues everywhere, so people are suffering. I don't think that the Ramadan people enjoy that.
May they help us with that currency. Make the money they flow. How will the money they flow? Everybody go see money. Who go put money for back? He go see and collect. No collect. So may they help us. Make we do it safely.
Residents further explained that the scarcity of Naira is affecting day-to-day living, where they called on the authorities concerned to come to their aid, especially at this time. Zainab Araye, Trust TV News, Abuja.
The leadership of the Nigerian Labour Congress on Wednesday directed all workers to picket all the offices of the Central Bank of Nigeria nationwide, starting from next week over the current cash crunch in the country. NLC President Joe Ajero, who gave the directive in Abuja, said the action became imperative following the expiration of the one-week ultimatum given to the Apex Bank to make cash available for Nigerians. On the foreign scene, a public prosecutor has said that more than 400 rebels in Chad were handed life sentences following the death of former ruler Idris Deby, who was killed in 2021. Prosecutor for the capital, Jamena, Mahamat El Haj Abbanana, said after a mass trial, they were sentenced for acts of terrorism, mercenarism, recruitment of child soldiers, and assaulting the head of state. He did not give a detailed figure for those jailed, saying only that more than 400 were sentenced to life, while 24 other defendants were acquitted. The trial opened last month behind closed doors at Klesom Prison, 20 kilometers southeast of the capital. In early 2021, the country's main rebel group, the Front for Change and Concord in Chad, launched an offensive on the north of the country from bases in Libya. On April 20, the army announced that Marshal Deby, Chad's iron-fisted ruler for the previous 3 decades, had died from wounds sustained in the fighting. And finally, in sports, Leon Balogun is set to return to action for Sky Bet Championship club Queen's Park Rangers after being away due to injury. Balogun has been sidelined since sustaining a calf injury in QPR's 2-1 home defeat to Huddersfield Town in November 2020. The centre-back was substituted at half-time in the game. According to feelers from the London club, the 34-year-old is ready to return to action. The Nigerian international made 22 league appearances for QPR before the injury setback. Balogun joined QPR in August 2022 as a free agent after ending his contract with Scottish Premier League side Glasgow Rangers. And with that, we've come to the end of Trust News Update. Don't forget to follow us across all our social media platforms. I'm Darshan Hussaina Usman. Thanks for watching.